All right. Let's get into the show, guys. This is just the Pitchfork podcast for April 19th, 2021. You guys didn't like the show, hit the like button, share button. Make sure you share the content. Make sure you let other people know that I run this show. So, guys, we're gonna get into the live news show. Doing little fun things. I did a little different, some a little bit different with my background here. Got my little samurai sword. Well, not samurai, but my ninja swords. I have a samurai sword too, so don't worry about that. And I am gonna be doing a lot of things that's gonna be similar. But it's going to be the same Pitchfork podcast. So I don't do bootlicking. You a bootlicker? You ain't welcome here. Because bootlick is not cool, and I want to be cool. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the news stories. So we're going to be covering mostly bad cop, no donut, but we're all going to cover a few political stories. I don't like to do politics as much as I have a passion for bad cop, no donut. And I also like to expose bad people who do really, really messed up stuff. So let's get into the live scene. All right, let's go ahead and change up the window capture. There we go. All right. So we are going to fix our screen here. All right, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and test our soundboard.
You're about to experience a nigga moment.
Oh my God!
It seems to me a strange thing. Enough from the clown.
That's bullshit. Stop lying.
Nigga, that's that bullshit.
Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God!
It was Antifa, right?
Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
I'll tell you what.
Bruh.
All right, so we've got our soundboard set up. All right, so there's a few things that we're gonna be covering for news stories. So, but the first things first, we're gonna cover this story from Florida about Ron DeSantis. He has just been super duper extra, and Ron DeSantis, he's just been all over the place with this whole anti-rioting stuff. Pretty much he's like a lot of the GOP governors, a lot of the GOP politicians across the country, and they're trying their best to suppress Black Lives Matter, to suppress protests, to suppress to suppress even peaceful protests. They don't want protests, period, because they want to have the police and the powers at be to abuse the vulnerable, to abuse people who are minorities, to abuse people and them not have anything to say about it, to even fight back. So it's very, very interesting to see how things are playing out across the country, to see how the GOP is responding, and also to see how many people justify this, how they try to wash us away and pretend like this isn't what it clearly is, and they are labeling it with all kind of family friendly labels, things like corruption and public disorder and everything else, but we know what this really is, right? So let's go ahead and get down to the recording. All right, so this is gonna be a crazy story coming out of the Hill, and I've seen this all over the place, but this is gonna be about Florida. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs a anti-riot bill cracking down on public disorder on public property. That's my first issue with this. Again, you pay all these taxes, like for example, you pay for all these roads and everything else, and they don't actually fix the roads, but they want to tell you what you can do on the roads. You pay for all this stuff, right? But you're being told what you can do on public property, and that's my first issue with this. This is actually written by the Hill, released on April 19th, which is today. And let's go ahead and get into this article. This is going to be a little bit interesting because I've been hearing about this a lot, and I haven't done a dedicated video about this, so I definitely want to go ahead and cover this. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican, on Monday signed a controversial measure known as the anti-riot bill into law, which aimed at combating public disorder. Wow, public disorder. So you could be disorderly in public when you pay for everything outside, but he doesn't. Interesting. The bill, which goes into effect immediately, requires that cities receive approval from the state before cutting their police budgets, and it raises the charge for protesters who destroy historical structures, including flags and memorials, to a felony. So destroying something like a flag is now a felony. A felony. Wow, that is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Additionally, the bill grants civil legal immunity to individuals who drive through roads that protesters block off, makes blocking a highway a felony offense, and it prohibits protesters who are arrested during a riot from posting bail until after their first court date. Now, here's the several issues with that. Now, you're going to make it legal, right? Civil legal immunity to individuals who drive through roads that protesters block off. Okay, how do you determine who's a protester and who just might be caught up in the crowd? How do you determine that? And then on top of that, makes blocking a road a felony offense. Do you understand what police are going to use that for? Let's say that you are trying to film a police officer maybe doing something that is absolutely wrong, and the only way that you can film them is from the road. Now it's a felony offense. Now, let's say that the same people who were in the George Floyd video who were being shouted at by that one Asian officer to get out the road, get out the road. Now they're being hit with felony offenses just for being there to watch Derek Chauvin murder George Floyd. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it prohibits protesters who are arrested during a riot from posting bail until after their first court date. That's unconstitutional. That is, you have the constitutional right to a speedy trial. Let me show that to you. Because I know there's going to be some bootleggers out there say, oh, no, that's not the case. I'm going to show you. To a speedy trial. You cannot delay that. That is the Sixth Amendment. I knew that off the top of my head, but if I just said that, right? You say, well, will you just lead us into believing that? No. I said it and then I just brought it up. So you have the right to a speedy trial. The Speedy Trial Clause of the Sixth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution provides that in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy trial. To a speedy trial. You cannot delay that, Ron DeSantis. Right? So let me read again. And it prohibits protesters who are arrested during a riot from posting bail until after their first court date. That violates directly the Constitution. You have a right to a speedy trial. You can't delay that because reasons. You can't do that. The legislation also increased the charge for battery on a police officer during a riot, upping the consequence to a minimum of 6 months in jail. A minimum of 6 months. Let me get this straight. You're going to spend 6 months in jail for assault on a police officer. Do you understand how many things are considered assault on a police officer? Let's say a police officer is trying to apprehend you and you simply just push away. That's assault on a police officer. One push away is 6 months in jail. Do you find that to be reasonable? That also violates the Constitution, okay? Because let me demonstrate that to you. Cruel and unusual punishment. That's the Eighth Amendment, right? The Eighth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Do you think 6 months for simply pushing away from a police officer, the officer could not be hurt during a riot? Do you think 6 months is reasonable? Based on what the Eighth Amendment says. When it comes to police officers, it just doesn't matter what the Constitution says. It doesn't matter what the law says, because you have politicians out there who will just protect them, lawyers who will lie for them, cops who will back up their buddies in freaking blue. You have judges who will sit there and just let them off on freaking murder. It's a zero-sum game, folks. There is a secret club and you ain't in it. George Carlin was right. There is a secret club and you ain't in it. You ain't in it. Because if a police officer just comes and push you, he's not spending 6 months in jail. Minimum. They made a minimum of 6 months in jail. And I gave you a very real scenario in which people have been charged with assault on a police officer because the police officer tried to apprehend them and they simply pushed away. The officer was not hurt. The officer was not physically damaged. But based under this law, that's 6 months minimum. 6 months minimum. Do you think that's reasonable? Do you think that's reasonable? Who out there is going to justify this? I guarantee you there's going to be somebody out there who's going to try to justify this. Right? It is just disgusting. And here's what DeSantis said, right? Because the bill has passed on mostly party lines in Florida in the Senate, right? Mostly party lines, and it's already cleared the Florida House as well. This is a direct quote from Ron DeSantis. He says, if you look at the breadth of this particular piece of legislation, it's the strongest anti-rioting, pro-law enforcement piece of legislation in the country. There's just nothing even close. Yeah, it is a bootlicking law, basically. A bootlicking law. A bootlicking law. You are requiring individuals, counties within your particular state to ask for approval to cut budgets. That is not only tyrannical, but there better not be a single libertarian out there justifying that bullshit. If a single community says, hey, we want to do things our way, you could do things your way in any other place. But right here, where we pay taxes, we want to do things our way. We don't want your welfare. We don't want any freaking, assistance. We don't want the ATF. We don't want cops. We don't want anything. If people decide to do that on their own, why should they not be allowed to do that as free people? As free people. If you decide that. If more people did that, you certainly wouldn't be worrying about welfare, right? I mean, is that not the goal, ultimately, self-reliance? Or is it reliance on the government? Which one is it? I'm asking the more right-leaning people, the Republicans, the so-called libertarians, the right-wing fakitarians. That's what I'm asking here. What do you want people to do? So you have to ask your governor as a small town or a small city, small neighborhood, for approval to cut budgets on things that you're paying for. Do you understand how disgusting that is? How the founding fathers would look at that and spit on this man? And this kind of stuff is happening across the country. Like, here, just like it's mentioned here, last week, the Texas Senate passed a bill that would require cuts to police budgets to be approved by the community through a vote. Why are you even getting involved in this? Why is Ron DeSantis doing this? Why is he putting a bootlicking bill out there? It's just disgusting what's happening in this country and the people out there who justify this bullshit. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. All right, that's the first edit done. Fuck Ron DeSantis. What's going on? Diesel Bomber. Hey fam, hope all is well. All is well, man. It's good with me. Just had to take care of some issues, man. But it's all good. I'm back on my grind. As you can see. So when I do my videos, man, I like to just give people several sources, man. I like to try to give people several things to think about. So let's see. Here we go. Here's there's some shots fired outside of my place right now. I'm hearing some stuff right now in the background. There's some shots fired in the background. So, but hey, let me know what you guys think I should do differently with the show. No, I'm not gonna do bootlicking stuff. So please don't do it. No, I'm not gonna start criticizing a bunch of Democrats. No, I do bad cop, no donut, and I do some news stories. No, I'm not gonna sit here and just run a bunch of right wing shit. No. God damn. I have to say that. I have to say that kind of stuff, man. I have to be so forceful with it because you got people out there who just, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just people out there who just don't recognize that you're in a new civil rights era. Some people don't realize that you're in a new civil rights era. So there is a it's a story that I want to look into because Fox News they're being purposely vague on it. So I'm gonna go back over to the live scene here because when it comes to a police officer, man, they're gonna be vague as hell about it. See, they're being very, very vague with why he was arrested, man. They're being super vague, and I don't like that. So, anyways, guys, let me know how you doing. I just want to go ahead and look at why this guy was arrested. I want to see why he was arrested. Sometimes the local news media, there's got to be more to this story, though. See what I mean? There's a lot of vagalities here. Do more local than use it as an example. I'm probably being selfish in the idea because we are in the same demographic. Yeah, you know what? I got you, man. I got you. Seattle police. Yeah, there we go. This should be interesting. This should be spicy now. I like his spicy meatballs. All right. Seattle police lieutenant retires rather than face firing. Oh my God. Okay. Well, this is thank you, Diesel Bomber. This is a little spicy one right here. This is gonna be a spicy meatball. All right. So this is gonna be a spicy meatball. I did a video about the Seattle Police Department where I explained to people about how bad they are. There was an autonomous zone in Seattle known as CHOP or Chaz, and it was complete anarchy. And people were saying, "Oh, that's horrible" and everything else, and they didn't understand the backstory as to what was happening in Seattle. See, Seattle Police Department, they've been under a federal consent decree for the past I mean, almost a decade now. And they have not been in compliance with that consent decree. And the reason why they were placed under that consent decree in federal court and were ordered to follow the consent decree by a federal judge, ordered to, meaning if they didn't follow it or comply in any way, they are outside the law. You can't call anyone else criminals but them, period. Point blank in the story. It was already decided in the court. You can't talk around that. There's no bootlicking that you can do with that, period. All right? So coming to find out, they were doing stuff that was so racist that to the point where if you actually read what was actually in the court documents, you would think that you were dealing with a bunch of goddamn Klan members. It was that bad. You had police detectives stomping people out and saying, "Hey, homie, I will stomp the Mexican piss out of you." You had people shooting Native American wood carvers because they could not comply with commands because they were damn deaf. Okay, you had crazy stuff like that happening. I mean, grown men beating women so bad to the point where you're breaking orbital bones, like stuff like that. Unarmed women who are handcuffed in the backseat of your damn car, you kick them in the face so hard till you break orbital bones. And you know, when you have stuff like that happening, then that shows you a lack of leadership that goes all the way up to the top. Now, that leads me into this story, a recent story. As of today, Seattle police lieutenant retires rather than face firing. Now, that is interesting. That is very interesting. And I gave you that backstory so you can kind of understand that I've been covering this police department for a very long time now, and I live in Washington State now. So Seattle Associated Press, a Seattle police lieutenant has retired rather than face a recommendation that she be fired for after an internal investigation found she directed a city contractor to remove trash from her home and lied about it. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait a minute. So you didn't get fired for shooting somebody. You didn't get fired for sexual assault or sexual harassment. You didn't get fired for, money laundering. You got fired because you used a taxpayer resource to have a city contractor remove trash from your home, and then you simply lied about it. It is one of those scenarios that I'm pretty sure had she just told the truth, I could probably just forgive this. I mean, it's not that serious. You had someone remove trash from your home. I don't think that is something that somebody should really be fired for. Should you be reprimanded? Should you maybe lose some pay? Maybe if you have some rank like you were a lieutenant, should you be busted down to maybe a beat cop? Sure, I could definitely see that. But this is not that big of a freaking offense. But the problem is you lied about it, baby. You lied about it. The findings released by the Office of Police Accountability on Friday determined that former Lieutenant Senior Ebiger was dishonest, used her position as a police officer for personal gain, and acted unprofessionally. Listen. She had someone take out her trash, and now the city's taking out the trash, which is her. Detective Patrick Mitchell, a Seattle Police Department spokesperson, confirmed to the Seattle Times that Ebiger, a 21-year department veteran, no longer works for the department. 21 years and you do something this stupid. Listen, the only thing worse than a bad criminal, the only thing worse than a really, really bad criminal is a police officer who can't cover up their own crimes. That's your job. Your job is to investigate crimes. How the hell is it that you can't cover up a crime? You got police officers doing stupid stuff on camera. Taser, pow. Just stupid stuff on camera. And then they wonder why you end up in damn handcuffs. Because you did stupid shit on camera. See, the problem with cops, it's not that you're getting new stuff about cops. It's that it's that now it's getting filmed and that now we have the damn internet. That's the problem here. The Office of Police Accountability found that Ebiger in February had asked a friend and former in another agency to have Cascadia Cleaning and Removal, a city contractor, remove some large trash items in front of her home. The friend had asked Cascadia employees not to photograph the items, which was outside of normal protocol, the OPA said. The OPA was just the Office of Police Accountability. Ebinger was the department's lead liaison with the city's navigation team, which has been used to remove homeless encampments and find resources for those displaced. One Cascadia worker mentioned the job to another police officer who discovered the address belonged to Ebinger. That officer told an acting sergeant, and two of them confronted Ebinger, who acknowledged she had asked for the favor. Ebinger said she only asked for the favor after she had contracted Seattle Public Utilities twice without results, said the OPA investigation. So, because you couldn't get it privately, you used taxpayer funds, baby. Listen, she's honest. I mean, even if, and again, she did violate the public trust. There's no question about it. But at least she was honest. They came to her, right? She didn't lie about it. They came to her. They said, hey, did you do this? Well, yeah, I did it, but, I did it because if I paid for my own money, then I would have gotten substandard service. I want the same service that y'all get. I'm not excusing what she did, trust me. But it's funny as shit. You gotta admit, this is fucking hilarious. You gotta admit, you listen, of all the dumbass reasons to get fired for, to lose your good ass job, you lost your job because you misused a taxpayer funded trash service. What the fuck is wrong with you? You lost a job where you have qualified immunity. You could damn near kill, not fucking damn near, bitch, you could kill somebody. You could kill somebody and get away with it, essentially. They can't even take you to damn civil court. Well, they can, but it's going to get thrown out, qualified immunity. Why would you mess up that good deal for damn trash, bitch? Damn. Ebinger says she had not asked that the cleanup crew come specifically to her house, and they made the pickup only because they were in the area. She acknowledged to the officers that she had jumped the line and apologized for putting them in the awkward position. She had also told the navigation team director that the Cascadia workers had been in the area, according to the OPA. However, the OPA investigation, which included interviews with several officers, human service officials, and the Cascadia contractor and workers, found that the crew had been specifically sent to Ebinger's house. So then the lie that she tried to say is, it actually changed up. It said she was trying to pretend to be the benevolent thief, right? So, I wasn't calling the trash crew out there to come just to my house. It was for the whole neighborhood. It was, again, I was sharing my candy with the whole class. That's what she said, right? I was sharing my candy with the whole class. That's what she said. It's just precious. It's precious. So then they actually interviewed all the contractors and several other officers and the workers for Cascadia, who said no. She told us to come directly to her house. A request for comment made by the Seattle Times to a cell phone registered to Ebinger was not returned. That is precious, man. That is a hell of a way to get fired, and that is one funny, hilarious thing to get fired over. Listen, if you're willing to do something this freaking stupid, I mean, first of all, cap, all cops are bastards, but you're getting more and more reasons as to why they're freaking bastards, because when you do stupid shit like this, it's just precious. It's just precious. Senior Ebinger, how do you lose your job as a police lieutenant in Seattle? Do you understand the salaries? Again, the minimum wage here, that's more than $10 an hour. I mean, in some parts, it's $15 a damn hour. I think the whole state, isn't it like $15 a freaking hour? Again, so again, people are making this kind of money, so you know how much money a police lieutenant is making. How do you mess up this job over trash? Over trash, bitch. God damn. Just, oh my God. Lose your good ass job over some damn trash. Well, at least the trash also took care of itself, and you got fired. Damn. How do you lose your good ass job because you wanted a damn trash service? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. How do you lose your good ass job because you want a damn trash service? You are a police lieutenant. That's got to be six figures. That ain't no doubt in my damn mind. That's got to be six figures. In damn Seattle? Do you know what the salaries are in damn Seattle? That's got to be six figures. A police lieutenant loses her good ass job because she wanted to use a taxpayer funded trash service. A police lieutenant in Seattle. I know a beat cop in Seattle with overtime can make six figures. What's going on, DM Coscast? What's up, DA and Diesel Bomber? What's going on, man? How you doing? Long time no see. I'll be doing the Pitchfork podcast. I'm backing at him. Man, I covered a local story because the Diesel Bomber said he wanted me to cover a local story, so I'm gonna do one for Tacoma as well. But I wanted to get Seattle pretty much out of the way first, because Seattle PD, they're the easy ones, man. You ain't gotta try very, very hard with them, man. They are extra stanky. They are some kind of funky. Seattle PD, man, they make LAPD look competent, like sometimes, and that's Lord have mercy. I don't know. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. Lord Jesus, I just don't understand how in the world you are a police lieutenant and you lose your good ass job, because you wanted to use a trash service. That's just trash as a person. I mean, that's just but I am going to do something with Tacoma. Let's see. So we got one story here. I want to cover as many bad cop notes as I want to cover, and I also want to cover a few local stories for Washington State, because that's where I'm at right now. So I do want to cover a little bit local stories for the people. So there's a few local stories I do want to go ahead and cover. So all right. So I'm gonna go KOMO News. What's going on, guys? In chat. Let's go live so you guys can see what I'm seeing. So KOMO. So let's go over here. So KOMO, I like them a lot. So I like this particular site, particular news source, because they tend to do a very, very good job. Usually they have a lot of local stories, but most of the stories they're featuring are just from all over the country. It's just like they're not even. Most of the stories that they're featuring here, like if you look here, it's supposed to be for Seattle, for Tacoma, and as you can see, they're not really showing a whole lot of news here. It's kind of just a bunch of boring stuff that no one really like watches. And this is why I think they kind of cling to a lot of the national headlines, because if you look now, like there's a lot of slow news here, right? The toddler hit and killed. I could cover that one. I hate covering those kind of stories though, right? So once again, I want to cover more local stuff, but as you can see, it's not a whole lot you can cover if the news doesn't really cover it. Now I can go out in there and do like the work myself, but that does require me to do a lot of more lead work. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do that, because it's just like, again, the local news, they've just, if Como is falling off, then that's not good, man. That's really, really bad. Let's go to Curo 7. Anyways, let me know how you guys doing today. I've had an interesting week. It's been a struggle, man, dealing with some of the things that I deal with on the regular. There's a few stories I'm going to cover. All right, so here's what I'm going to definitely cover. So here's one number 5 that I want to cover. All right, so people have been taking matters to their own hands, and I told the cops, man, this is going to start happening. And it's already beginning, man. It's already beginning. Let's get to it. All right, so in Seattle, officers are discovering, that people are going to start taking matters to their own hands. And apparently, what was happening during the last summer is going to start continuing, because officers are finding their cars be slashed. Officers find tires slashed on 3 Seattle police cars. Yeah, people are going to start responding to you, man. It's from Curo 7. Wow. So it's published on April 19th, which is today, by the Curo 7 news staff. Seattle Police South Precinct officers on Friday morning found 3 marked patrol cars that had been intentionally vandalized. Officers said they discovered 6 tires had been slashed. All were on the vehicle's passenger side. The patrol vehicles were marked in an unsecured parking lot when the damage happened. Officers searched the area for other damaged cars or property, but none were found. So they were targeted then. They were targeted. And you're going to start seeing this kind of stuff more and more and more. It's very, very interesting that this happened, because people don't even understand the story behind Chop or Chaz. People don't understand that when that actually occurred, people were resorting to and going to anarchy, because they had already gotten a federal consent decree in federal court in which the Seattle Police Department had already been told to stop being racist, stop bothering people, stop abusing the Constitution, stop abusing people's constitutional rights, stop abusing the citizens in general. And a federal judge told them to do that, and the Seattle Police Department did not obey that command. So when people go to the federal government, which is the highest that you can go to, and you still don't listen, well, then what comes next? What comes next is stuff like this. And I think you're gonna start finding that more than cars are gonna start getting slashed. And I think it's going to be a direct result. I mean, it's not, I know it's going to be a direct result of the Seattle Police Departments and other police departments' inability to address their corruption, their incompetence, and their inability to stop killing people. So, again, they are fucking around, and they are slowly but surely going to find out, because this is going to get progressively more and more violent. Next time the thing is going to be slashed, it's not going to be cars. So I would highly suggest that certain professions in this country get with the fucking program. Because as you can see, people aren't playing with you anymore. So yeah, it's getting serious out there. People ain't playing no more, man. People ain't playing no more. So, go back to the live scene. All right, so this is gonna be another interesting because I'm more libertarian, so I actually like this story. I like this story. It's gonna be kind of cool, man. All right, this is a story coming out of Washington State, and it should be a libertarian's wet dream. State lawmakers passed bill that could phase out gas car sales by 2030. Gas car sales. That is insane. I was being facetious when I said that. I was being facetious. I was being sarcastic when I said that. This is goddamn horrifying. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm going to cover the news. I'm going to give you the news. Okay? All right, so this story is coming out of Kiro 7 out of Washington State. State lawmakers passed bill that could phase out gas car sales by 2030. Wow. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opinions about that. This is published on April 19th, 2021. By Kiro 7 news staff. Washington state lawmakers passed a bill Thursday aimed at stopping the sale of gasoline-fueled vehicles statewide starting in 2030. It signed the law. The bill would make Washington the first state to end the sale of new gas cars. California and Massachusetts have passed similar laws that would take effect by 2035. The ban would apply to publicly owned and privately owned passenger and light-duty vehicles of model year 2030 or later that are sold, purchased, or registered in Washington state be electric vehicles. So they're not saying that they're banning people from owning vehicles that are made before 2030. What they're saying is anything that's brought after that in Washington state has to be, right? Has to be electric vehicles. Now, you can't even register that vehicle. You can't register that vehicle unless it's an electric vehicle, which could pose some issues if there's not a grandfather clause. Basically, if I own this vehicle and if electric vehicles are not made more affordable by the time 2030 comes along, which is, by the way, only 9 years from now, less than a decade from now, electric cars are not cheap. Most of your electric cars are not cheap. Your Teslas are not cheap, man. You know, so you gotta think about people who are disadvantaged, who don't have money to buy an electric vehicle, who may just want to go out there and buy a freaking car. So when you couple that with the problems that we're having with the semiconductors, you know, the freaking chips that actually go inside the cars, which is why the rental car prices are freaking through the freaking roof now. Try to go and rent a car right now. See how expensive that is right now. Right? So they're only going to make this worse by requiring people who might be so poor, who might be able to actually afford, you know, gas-powered vehicles. They're going to limit that person even further and thus cause the gap between the have and the freaking have-nots to be even wider. And then what even makes this worse is that they are also going to punish the small businesses, you know, the mom and pop gas stations who are selling this freaking gasoline because that actually draws them in money. You know, they're also gonna hurt the small business by doing this, as you know, because what are those gas stations gonna freaking do now? Not every gas station. I would freaking guess most gas stations in the state of Washington don't have a fitting for electric cars. So what are they gonna do now? You've made cigarettes so freaking expensive. You are increasing the prices on freaking alcohol. You're increasing freaking taxes on just basic, you know, things like milk and candy and food and soda and water and everything else. Everything that gas stations sell, you are shutting those businesses out right now. If you are a state lawmaker and you are watching this video, you are killing businesses right now. I want you to know that. It passed by a vote of 25 to 23 in the Senate and 54 to 43 in the House, and now heads to Governor Jay Inslee's desk for signature. The bill is contingent on the state adopting a tax on vehicle miles traveled, which would help fund the new infrastructure according to the bill. So you want to tax on vehicles miles traveled. Wow. So if you are like an Uber driver, you're screwed. You just destroyed Uber drivers. If you are an Uber or Lyft driver, you are done. They just killed your freaking ability to make money. They just destroyed your ability to make money. That's ridiculous. The legislation was first introduced by Representative Nicole Macri, Democrat from Seattle, as HB 1204. It's the first gasoline phase-out target to make it through the legislative process. Passage of this legislation takes the guesswork and uncertainty out of the electric vehicle transition by creating a clear timeline with the data, tools, and guidelines we need to help businesses, developers, governments, and consumers plan with confidence. Senator Marco Liaz, Democrat from Linwood, said in a press release. Clean Cars 2030 is a critical step to meet urgent carbon reduction goals here in Washington and can serve as a model and impetus for other states to accelerate the switch to electric vehicles. The legislation coincides with accelerated efforts by the auto industry to move away from gas fuel vehicles. GM plans to sell zero emissions vehicles by 2035, while Ford says it will only sell electric vehicles in Europe by 2030. Once again, I have an issue with this overall, though. If you are a local lawmaker here, and I live in Washington State, I want you to know you are killing jobs, man. I mean, I understand that you mean well. You mean well, and that's why I'm not being harsh on you. You mean well. I get it. You mean well. You're not being monsters by doing this. You believe that you're helping people by doing this, and that you are saving the planet. You mean well. But I want you to understand transitions from one industry to a completely different one. That is not only not smooth typically, but if you're not under an emergency situation, it doesn't give the fierce urgency of now as MLK would actually put it. So that gives people the cachet and the freaking audacity to take their time. And while they're taking their time, businesses are gonna suffer. The mom and pop shops are going to suffer. It doesn't matter how well you mean. That's going to happen if you do this. So I want people to understand that this stuff, the freaking assault on the freaking American business, it's got to stop, man. You guys are just beating the American business to death by pushing forth these freaking bills under the guise of benevolent goals and be your desire to be benevolent or authoritarian. If the results are the same, then the results are the same. This stuff has got to stop, man. Take your time. Plan this out better. Give poor people more time to transition, right? Before you just do stuff like this. You're talking about less than a decade. The government never does anything smoothly in less than a damn decade. Okay? So we have got to do better about not destroying businesses. And we have got to do better about holding state lawmakers accountable when they do try to destroy businesses. Because they always promise you that the bills that they push are going to be benevolent. And yet when you look around, think about how many businesses are shut down that aren't coming back. And it's their fault. All right, that is another story done, man. Hey, this is Bob. Let's go read up. what he said here in the comment section. Speaking of haves and have-nots, have you seen the gun laws that keep going through here? I had to take a class to get a semi-auto 22. What? That is insane. Wait a minute. Let me go look that up. Can you give me the name of that freaking bill? Give me the name of give me the name of that freaking bill. I want to hear that bill. I want to see that bill. All right. I want to see that bill. Definitely show me that bill, because if you can show me that, I'll definitely go over it. All right, here's one that I definitely am going to be covering. Here's one I'm definitely going to be covering. Also, had to pay an assault weapons tax. Told lady I've never seen a dangerous assault weapon in my life. Wow. 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 That is... Things are getting crazy, huh? Yep, I do smoke weed on camera. If you got an issue with that, you got an issue with liberty, and that's a problem that I cannot help you with. So let's get into it. All right, so this comes from My Northwest, man. Washington State House passes bill banning open carry at protest state capitol. Now, I totally get the reason why they're doing this, because at the state capitol, you again, MAGA and the Blue Lives Matter crowd, you have to understand the reason why they're doing this. I get it, but banning open carry at protests. Do you know what that means? That means that not only is that an infringement on the Second Amendment, and even banning open carry at the state capitol is an infringement on the Second Amendment. But the thing about it is, it also hurts minorities, because when the Black Panther Party was open carrying in California, for example, where we know how that turned out, the Black Panther Party and various other groups out there open carried to protect minorities from white nationalists and from white supremacists. And there are some people out there who are not white people who just want to open carry or just carry a gun on them to protect themselves, which is an American right. Not only American right, it is your right as a human being to protect yourself. And people have guns, so I expect you to have a gun to protect yourself with, and your family and your loved ones. So this gun control bullshit, it is not designed to protect you. It is designed to control you, because the main part of gun control is control. I am pro BLM, and I'm saying this shit. So MAGA, Blue Lives Matter, and someone who's pro BLM are on the same side, on the same issue. I want to be able to carry guns just like you. That way, if you act up, I have the same shot at ending you as you do ending me. I want to be able to protect myself, because an armed society is a polite one. When everyone in the room is armed, nobody wants to fire the first shot, because the chances of you making it out of that scenario are slim to none. That's why people tend to not act out if everyone's armed. That's why if you go to the South, you do notice that people are very, very friendly until they can get you alone, right? So again, I want you to understand The problem with bills like this is that it is designed to protect you when really it's designed to hurt you. Because if the Second Amendment was designed for a well-regulated militia, even if you want to go for the whole, it was a well-regulated militia, you can't have anything but muskets. Even if you want to go that route, right? Telling me that I can't open carry at the state capitol, isn't that going even against that? It's unconstitutional. Period. Banning open carry at protests. Excuse me. So now people are going to just conceal carry. So when something pops off, now you don't know who has guns. Let's get into the story. It's just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Published March 29th, 2021 by Nick Bowman at mynorthwest.com. I want to get some more local news or some more local news media sites, because again, I want to give them some love, and because I know that my channel is actually blowing up. I'm getting more and more views. So I just want to give them, a big shout out to, and also in return, I hope they would do the same, but it's not really required. The Washington State House passed a bill Sunday banning the open carry of firearms at or near permitted public demonstrations or on the Capitol campus in Olympia. At or near permitted public demonstrations. What the fuck is permitted? Permitted. The First Amendment says there's no such thing as permission. Permission. In addition to prohibiting openly carried weapons in the state capitol or on the capitol's grounds, the bill would bar people from carrying weapons either on their person or in their vehicle while attending a permitted demonstration at a public place or while being within 250 feet of a permitted demonstration. An amendment accepted on the state Senate floor exempted people who are openly carrying firearms on private property that they own or lease within that 250-foot buffer zone. So that is nice to have. So let's say that you live in an apartment complex, or you live on your own property. Your property is covered, or your property that you're leasing at is actually covered. And I do like that. I do like that you can do that, and the cops can't do anything to you for doing that. But the problem with that is, let's say that you're standing outside of your apartment complex, right? And the protest comes near your place, and you happen just to be standing outside. Let's say that you're listening to some music, you're just smoking, or just having a conversation, or you're just wanting to go watch from the outside of your freaking apartment or your house, and it comes near you, and you happen to have your gun on you. Is that going to be a problem then, because the protest is moving towards you, or are you covered, or what? See, these are the kind of questions that should be answered within those bills before you just sign things out there. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, when first brought up, the bill would have banned open carrying within 1,000 feet of a demonstration. It was later amended in the state Senate's Law and Justice Committee to reduce that buffer zone. Protests that don't have a permit are also not covered under the ban. Wow. Protests that don't have a permit. Think about the First Amendment and think about what this is actually implying. Let's say that a group of black people says, we're going to go protest and we don't want a goddamn permit. Why does my people need a goddamn permit to protest when you had us as fucking slaves here? Do you see the racism in damn gun control? Do you see this shit? Do you not see how this is mostly going to be used against goddamn black people? Approved protest. What the fuck is a goddamn approved protest? Let's say that a black man is just open carrying, and he happens to be wearing pro Black Lives Matter gear, and he's standing on the outside of his freaking house or his apartment complex, because I know many apartment complexes who tell you cannot smoke on the inside of your freaking apartment. So many people stand out. So it is not unusual, especially in places like Seattle, to see people standing on the outside of their freaking balconies or outside, just period, smoking, right? Because they can't smoke on the inside of their freaking apartment. And suppose you are open carrying, like I typically do, because I have a holster that I carry right here on my side. I open carry here in Washington State. It's an open carry state. In any other scenario, you can open carry here. But suppose I walk outside and I'm wearing this jacket here. I'm a pagan, but it says I can't breathe and fuck racism as a pro BLM Black Panther. Right? Suppose I walk outside with that and a protest is happening out. It is occurring in the park that's near my place. And it moves over to my place. Happen to be open carry, happen to be standing outside. Do you not see how that's setting me up to get shot by a fucking cop? Do you not see that? Do you not see that? Unbelievable. People don't realize this is going to hurt the Black Panthers. Groups like the Black Panthers. Yeah, sure. Open carrying was definitely a problem with white supremacists, but it was a fucking necessity for the Black Panthers. Anyone who doesn't get that, first of all, if you're fucking white, I don't want to hear that shit. All right. Second of all, if you don't get how laws like this are used to target black folk, then you clearly don't know history. You cannot say in one breath that the police are targeting black people, and I totally agree with that. Absolutely. They fucking are. I think a good bit of them are fucking racist, to be quite honest with you. But when you look at this shit, there's no way you're telling me this is not going to be used against black people. You got a bunch of white liberals who do stupid shit like this, who pass stupid ass laws like this, not realizing that the people who you claim to be protecting, the people who you claim to speak for, the people who you claim are getting abused by these cops. If I wanted to open carry to protect myself from those same cops while also protesting, then what option did you just give me? What option? What option did you just give me? You just fucked me. Your gun control, once again, just fucked over someone like me, because now I can't even open carry. Meaning that cop shows up, I'm at a protest, I'm dead. Thanks, liberals. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're allies. You know, and it really, really makes me wonder about you sometimes. It really fucking does. All right, guys, that's going to be the end of the show today. Thank you, Jesus Obama. Thank you, DM Cause Chaos. Thank you everybody else who showed up today. Hey, guys, thank you so much. Let me go read out some comments here. Also, shit, I don't know. 1639 was the class I had to take. Really did dig into it. It means that you can't open carry in public demonstration. Legally, a public demonstration is if you have 15 people within 250 feet of you. That's literally everywhere. That bill is made to keep people from being armed in public. Yeah, that's bullshit. Anyways, guys, be safe. Horns up. Peace out.